will go to zoos. But most people don't realize that zoos are not a good place for animals. A Canadian zoo once locked up a bear for hibernation all winter and went back to check on it in the spring and found that the bear was dead. This was because they locked it up without food or water, didn't check on it, and the bear was a species that didn't hibernate. There are a lot of issues just like that surround zoos. We'll first look at some of the major issues surrounding zoos, and then we'll talk about some of the solutions. Zoos are not a healthy place for animals. According to Greg Nivell, the author of Psychology and Behavior of Animal Suffering, boredom and nervousness are huge issues in zoos. Almost all animals have it. A lot of the signs of this are playing with poop, walking back and forth, throwing poop, and just sitting and eating. And often another sign is sleeping all the time. A lot of people go to zoos and complain that animals just sleep. And well, this is because animals aren't happy there and that's all they know how to do. Larger animals suffer even more than some of the smaller animals. According to PETA, People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, elephants in the wild live to be 60 plus, while elephants in zoos live to be maybe 15. And this is not, entirely known for the reason is not entirely known, but most people think it's because of stress, lack of exercise, and just the nervousness and boredom. Enclosures in zoos are very small. Elephants typically walk about 30 miles a day in the wild, according to the Elephant Sanctuary in Tennessee's fact page, but elephants in zoos maybe walk 1 mile a day because their enclosures are so small. Zoos have changed very little since they were first created. Many zoos have not expanded their enclosures to hold the bigger animals, they've just put the bigger animals in there. A lot of the enclosures are just made out of cement. There's no cement in the wild, so why would we put animals in cement enclosures? According to Dowling, who wrote Animal Care and Management for the National Zoo, many zoos don't even care about the well-being of the animals. They primarily care about the profit. Some people cut costs by feeding animals just pellet food and not very much fresh food because it's cheaper. A lot of zoos are not as popular as they used to be. This is probably because of documentaries like Blackfish and also more global awareness about the issues surrounding zoos and the treatment of animals. There's record low attendance lately. Breeding animals is a way zoos have been trying to draw visitors in. They breed animals, have babies, and then they market the babies and put little webcams on them to get people to come in and visit. But I feel like that's not something we should do because when they breed the animals, they get rid of the adults and they sell them to someone. And those animals don't have a very good life after that. Many zoos are trying to take a step in a different direction and add amusement rides and restaurants. They're drawing away from the animals while trying to make profit, but the focus should be on the animals at zoos, not on profit. Now that you have an understanding of a few of the issues surrounding zoos, let's talk about some of the solutions that would be helpful. Animals should be kept in wildlife preserves, not zoos. A wildlife preserve is near an animal's natural habitat, and it generally only has a few different kinds of animals. Animals thrive in these regions for a reason. So why not put animals in the region where they're naturally from and let them live there, and we can watch over them if they need be. Wildlife preserves are in regions that are typically where the animal lives, or in a place maybe in the U.S. that has the same climate as where the animal lives. There are many successful wildlife preserves, so why not promote them and help them get more animals and be more successful? Keeping animals outside with open spaces and not in pens will make them live longer and be happier. Many won't even suffer from nervousness and boredom. Lots of space to roam is something that animals really need and we don't really focus on. The Elephant Preserve in Tennessee has 15 elephants right now, but they can house up to 100. They actually have 2,700 acres for the elephants to roam. That's staggering compared to the average size of a zoo. Animals also live much longer in wildlife habitats, and they're also more likely to breed, which may help with extinction. Moving animals to wildlife preserves would be a step in the right direction. Zoos could focus more on the local species and maybe even turn themselves into like a wildlife preserve, kind of like for the sick animals. Animals would be much healthier in sanctuaries because they'd be eating the natural things that they normally eat. They wouldn't be eating that dry food. Wildlife preserves may get more donations if more zoos continue to bring their animals to wildlife preserves instead of having them in the zoos. These donations would help make the wildlife preserves bigger, possibly, or maybe even house more animals. Some animals will be more easily bred out of extinction. Think about bald eagles. Those animals we brought into preserves and helped breed them out of extinction. We can do that with lots of animals and save many animals' lives. In conclusion, zoos are not a good place for animals. We may have thought they were, but they really aren't. Wildlife preserves are a great alternative. Zoos are no longer necessary to our world. We really don't need them. We have the internet, we have TV. Let's move the animals back to where they came from and not keep them in urban centers. Although zoos have entertained many for many years, it's time to make a change in the right direction and move animals to wildlife sanctuaries.